The great chamber of the Galactic Council stretched across 300 meters of polished stone that had been carved from a single asteroid. Representatives from 47 species sat in their designated sections, their translators humming softly as they converted thousands of languages into comprehensible sound. Today the chamber buzzed with unusual energy. Earth had come asking for help. Ambassador David Chen stood at the center platform, a small human figure surrounded by beings that towered over him, beings with claws that could slice through steel, beings with multiple eyes that could see across spectrums humans couldn't imagine. He wore a simple dark suit, and in his hands he carried a data tablet that felt suddenly very inadequate. "Honored Council," Chen began, his voice amplified across the massive space. "Humanity comes before you in need. The Vrex swarm has attacked our outer colonies. 17 settlements have gone dark. We estimate 40,000 human lives lost. We are a young species in galactic terms. We request military assistance under the mutual defense protocols." A low rumble of sound filled the chamber. It wasn't quite laughter, but it wasn't sympathy either. Chen had expected this. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Council 3 years ago. They were the new members, the primitives who had barely mastered faster-than-light travel. The speaker, a tall being made of something that looked like living crystal, gestured toward the Apex Predator Committee section. "The matter falls under their jurisdiction. Ambassador Chen, please present your case to the committee." Chen nodded and moved to face the section where the galaxy's most fearsome species sat. These were the races that had evolved from apex predators on their homeworlds. They were the warriors, the fighters, the species that understood violence in their very DNA. The first to speak was Warlord Krax of the Scar-Rex. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall with deep red scales that looked like they had been forged in fire. His species had evolved from pack hunters on a death world where the rain itself was mildly acidic. Krax leaned forward, and his mouth opened to reveal 3 rows of serrated teeth that dripped with venom. "Show us," Krax said, his voice like grinding stones. "Show us these predators from Earth. Show us why we should believe your species can even understand warfare." Chen tapped his tablet. Holographic displays materialized above the platform. A lion appeared first, golden and magnificent, bringing down a buffalo on the African plains. The footage showed the raw power, the killing bite, the pride feeding on their kill. Krax watched for a moment, then made a sound that translated as dismissive laughter. "Soft fur, slow, no venom, no armor. We have herbivores on our world more dangerous than this." Next came a great white shark, cutting through ocean water, its rows of teeth visible as it attacked a seal. Then a grizzly bear, massive and powerful, its claws tearing through a fallen log as easily as paper. The insectoid Chithar representative clicked her mandibles together in what Chen's translator interpreted as amusement. She was smaller than Krax, but no less terrifying, with a glossy black exoskeleton and 6 limbs that ended in blades sharp enough to cut at the molecular level. "These are your apex predators?" Her voice was high and clicking. "They hunt alone or in tiny groups. They have no coordination, no hive mind, no true collective intelligence in their hunting. Ambassador, my species breeds warriors from the egg. Each one is born knowing how to kill. Each one shares the knowledge of every kill the hive has ever made. Your animals learn by watching their parents." She made the clicking sound again. "How primitive." Chen showed more footage. Wolves working together, bringing down an elk. Orcas using sophisticated hunting techniques. A crocodile performing a death roll. Each clip was met with more dismissal, more laughter that cut across species lines. The Dranathi representative spoke next, her voice bubbling through the water-filled chamber she occupied. She was serpentine and elegant, with fins that glowed bioluminescent blue. Her species came from an ocean world where the pressure at their cities would crush a human instantly. "We have predators in our deepest trenches that would swallow your sharks whole," she said. "They hunt in total darkness. They sense the electrical impulses of a heart beating from kilometers away. Your oceans are shallow puddles, and your ocean hunters are barely more than decorative fish." Chen kept his face neutral. He had prepared for this. He showed more footage: tigers, leopards, eagles, pythons. Each was met with the same reaction. The council species had seen it all before on other worlds, and they had seen better. Earth's predators were not impressive by galactic standards. After an hour of presentations, Warlord Krax stood to his full height. Ambassador Chen, I will be direct because I respect that you came here at all. Your species is made of prey animals who learn to use tools. There is no shame in this. Many successful species in the galaxy evolved this way. But you are not warriors. Your predators are not soldiers. They cannot be trained, cannot be commanded, cannot be integrated into military operations. He gestured around the chamber. Every species in the Apex Predator Committee evolved from hunters. We understand violence. It is in our blood, our instincts, our very thoughts. Your humans fear their own predators. You keep them in cages and call it a zoo. You run from them in fear. How can you ask us to believe you can fight alongside us when you cannot even coexist with your planet's own hunters? The Chithar representative clicked in agreement. The Vrek swarm is a threat, yes. But they are a threat that requires warriors to face. Your request is denied. We suggest you evacuate your colonies and leave warfare to those designed for it. Perhaps in a few thousand years, your species will evolve something more useful than opposable thumbs and anxiety. Laughter rippled through parts of the chamber. Not cruel laughter exactly, but the kind of laughter that came from watching a child try to do an adult's job. Humanity was adorable in its attempt to be fierce. Chen stood quietly through it all. He waited for the laughter to die down. Then he carefully placed his tablet on the platform and looked up at the assembled council. I appreciate the council's time, he said, his voice calm and measured, and I accept your assessment. Clearly we brought the wrong presentation today. Warlord Krax tilted his massive head. Wrong presentation? Yes, Chen said. You see, we have this thing on Earth called lawyers. We sent me because I'm a diplomat. I can negotiate. I can present information calmly. I follow rules. He paused and looked directly at Krax. We also have other types of humans, the kind we send when diplomacy fails, the kind we send when we need problems solved rather than discussed. The chamber grew quieter. There was something in Chen's tone that didn't match his calm expression. Is that a threat, Ambassador? The Chithar representative asked. No, Chen said simply. It's a warning. You've seen our predators. You haven't met our problem solvers. And you definitely haven't seen what happens when humans decide something needs to be defended. But that's fine. We'll handle the Vreks ourselves. We just thought it would be neighborly to ask first. He picked up his tablet and turned to leave. As he walked away from the platform, he added one more thing, almost as an afterthought. Oh, and for the record, we don't keep our predators in zoos because we're afraid of them. We keep them there because we're afraid of what we'd do to them if they were running free. There's a difference. The council chamber remained silent as Ambassador Chen left. No one was laughing anymore. 3 days after the rejection, Ambassador Chen requested another audience with the Galactic Council. This time the chamber was even more crowded. Word had spread about the humans' final comments, and curiosity had drawn observers from species that normally didn't bother with council sessions. Chen stood at the center platform again, but this time he wasn't alone. Next to him stood a woman in a white coat with the Earth Alliance military insignia on her shoulder. She looked tired, like someone who had been working too many long nights, and she carried a large sealed container that hummed softly. Honored Council, Chen began. I return to invoke the right of combat trial, as outlined in Galactic Law, Section 47, subsection C. When a species is denied military aid, they may challenge the decision through a trial by combat. If our champion wins, Earth receives full military support and a seat on the Apex Predator Committee. If we lose, we withdraw our request and accept the Council's judgment permanently. A shocked silence filled the chamber. The right of combat trial was ancient law, written thousands of years ago. Most species had forgotten it existed. It was considered a relic from more primitive times. Warlord Krax stood slowly, his red scales catching the light. Ambassador Chen, that law exists, yes. But it exists because we cannot remove it without rewriting the entire legal code. No one has invoked it in over 2,000 years. Are you certain you wish to do this? Completely certain, Chen said. The Chithar representative clicked rapidly, consulting with her hive through the psychic connection they all shared. If you invoke this right, you understand the terms? 3 rounds of combat, your champion against 3 of our chosen warriors. Your champion must win all 3 rounds. There are no rules except this. The fight ends when one side yields, dies, or becomes unable to continue. This is not a sporting event. This is real combat. We understand and accept, Chen said. The Dranathi representative's voice bubbled through her chamber. And you understand that we will choose our finest warriors? Not athletes or exhibition fighters, but true killers. We're counting on it, the woman in the white coat said. It was the first time she had spoken, and her voice carried an edge that made several council members shift uncomfortably. Warlord Krax nodded slowly. Very well. The Scarrex accept this challenge. I will send Zarthox the Unbroken. He has fought in 300 combat trials across 70 worlds. He has never been defeated. He has killed prey animals twice his size with his bare claws. The Chithar representative clicked in agreement. The Hive will send the perfect killer. She was bred specifically for combat. 10,000 generations of genetic refinement have created her. She knows only hunting, only killing. She has no fear, no hesitation, no mercy. The Dranathi swirled in her water chamber. We will send Deep Terror. He comes from the midnight trenches where light has never reached. He has never seen a living thing he did not hunt. His species has survived for 3 million years by being the most efficient killers in our oceans. Chen nodded and tapped his tablet. The arena will be prepared on Neutral Ground Station 7. The combat will be broadcast across the galactic network. We have only a few requirements for the arena setup. Requirements? Krax asked. What requirements does Prey need? The woman in the white coat stepped forward. First, no water features deeper than 10 centimeters. Second, the arena walls need to be reinforced to level 9 specifications, the kind used for containing explosive materials. Third, we need emergency medical teams on standby for all species involved, including ours. Fourth, we strongly recommend a blast shield between the arena and the audience section. The council representatives looked at each other in confusion. You think your champion will explode? The Chithar asked. No, the woman said flatly. We're worried about collateral damage to the audience. And the medical teams are mostly for your fighters. Ours probably won't accept treatment anyway. Warlord Krax's laugh boomed through the chamber. Your confidence is admirable, human. Perhaps you have more warrior spirit than I credited. Very well, we accept these terms. They will change nothing. Who is your champion? Which of Earth's soft predators have you modified for this impossible task? Chen smiled slightly. We haven't modified anything, Warlord. We're sending you a completely natural, unaltered Earth animal. This is Dr. Sarah Kim, one of our xenobiology specialists. She'll be handling the champion's care and transport. Natural? The Dranathi sounded almost offended. You're sending a wild animal against our greatest warriors? That's correct, Dr. Kim said. She patted the humming container next to her. He's in here, actually. A bit grumpy from the trip. He doesn't like space travel much. What is it? Krax demanded. A great bear? One of those tigers? Better, Chen said. We're sending a honey badger. His military designation is Colonel Spite. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then someone in the gallery accessed Earth's database and found the file on honey badgers. A holographic image appeared above the chamber. A small black and white animal that weighed maybe 14 kilograms at most. The laughter started slowly, then built into a roar that shook the chamber. Council members were literally falling out of their seats. Some species translators couldn't even process the level of mockery being expressed. That? Krax managed between laughs. That tiny creature? Ambassador, I apologize, but I must ask, is this a joke? A statement about the absurdity of the combat trial? Because if so, it's actually quite clever. No joke, Dr. Kim said coldly. This is our champion. The Chithar representative pulled up more data on her display. It weighs 13 kilograms. Zarthox weighs 400 kilograms. The perfect killer weighs 90 kilograms. Deep Terror weighs 300 kilograms. Your champion could be swallowed whole by any of our warriors. Could be, Chen agreed. Won't be. He pulled up a data file and transmitted it to the council displays. This is Colonel Spite's record. He has survived bites from 12 different species of venomous snakes with no treatment. He once fought off 6 lions who tried to steal his meal. He has broken through concrete walls when motivated. His jaw strength can crack turtle shells. His pain tolerance is so high that he has been documented continuing to fight while being stung by hundreds of bees. He once fell off a cliff, was unconscious for 2 hours, then woke up and finished eating the snake he had been fighting. The laughter was dying down as council members actually read the data. This has to be exaggerated, Krax said, but his voice had lost some of its certainty. These numbers suggest this creature feels almost no pain. That's correct, Dr. Kim said. Honey badgers have a neurological quirk. Pain signals reach their brain differently. They feel pain, but it doesn't stop them. They don't have a normal fear response. They don't have a normal self-preservation instinct. They just have anger and determination. 13 kilograms, the Chithar repeated, as if saying it again would make it make sense. Chen opened the betting database that the council used for such events. We'd like to accept all wagers against Earth. The current odds are 1,000 to 1 against us. We'll take every bet offered. This caused another stir. The amount of credits being wagered was enough to bankrupt a small colony world. You'll lose everything, the Dranathi said. But she sounded less certain than before. Maybe, Chen said. Or maybe you've never met anything like a honey badger before. See, here's what you need to understand about Earth. We have predators, yes. Big ones, impressive ones. But we also have something else, survivors. Animals that are too angry to die, too stubborn to give up, too mean to run away. The honey badger is at the top of that particular list. Dr. Kim checked a monitor on the container. Colonel Spite is awake now. I should probably feed him before we transport him to the arena. He gets cranky when he's hungry. Well, crankier. What does it eat? Krax asked. Everything, Dr. Kim said simply. But he prefers venomous snakes. They're his favorite snack. She opened a small compartment and pulled out a container, labeled Cobra, highly venomous. Several council members actually stepped back as she casually opened it and dropped the snake into Colonel Spite's chamber. There was a brief, violent sound and then silence. How long does it take him to eat? Someone asked. Dr. Kim checked her monitor. He already finished. Ate the whole thing in about 40 seconds. He's upset there wasn't more. Warlord Krax sat down heavily. He looked at the small image of the honey badger on his display, then at the impressive specifications of the arena being prepared, then back at Chen. Ambassador, I'll ask you once more. Are you absolutely certain about this? Chen smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Warlord, we didn't send our most dangerous predator. We didn't send our biggest or strongest. We sent the angriest. And in 3 days, you'll understand why that's so much worse. The betting odds started changing. Not much, but enough to notice. Some council members were reading the honey badger data files very carefully now. Somewhere in the back of the chamber, a junior Scar Rex analyst pulled up combat probability models and got results that didn't make any sense. The trial was set. In 3 days, the galaxy would watch a 13-kilogram ball of fury fight 3 of the most dangerous warriors known to civilization. And somehow, impossibly, some members of the council were starting to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake. Neutral Ground Station 7 was built for exactly this purpose. The combat arena sat at the center of the station, a massive circular space 50 meters across with walls made of reinforced composite material rated to contain military-grade explosives. Above it, observation decks could hold 10,000 spectators, all protected behind transparent aluminum barriers that could stop a small starship. Today, those decks were packed. Every major news network in the galaxy had cameras present. The betting pools had grown so large that they required dedicated servers. Approximately 12 billion beings across the galaxy were watching the live feed. In one corner of the arena, Warlord Krax and the other Apex Predator Committee members sat in a special viewing box. They watched as their 3 champions were prepared for combat. Zarthox the Unbroken stood in his preparation chamber, his massive form rolling its shoulders and flexing claws that could punch through armor plating. His scales shimmered red and black, and his triple rows of teeth dripped with venom that could dissolve organic matter on contact. He had fought for 30 years and never lost. He radiated confidence. The perfect killer waited in her chamber with absolute stillness. She was beautiful in a terrible way, her black exoskeleton polished to a mirror shine, her blade limbs sharp enough to cut through steel cable. The Chithar hive mind connected her to 10 billion other minds, all feeding her combat data, all sharing every kill the species had ever made. She had no fear because fear was inefficient. Deep Terror's chamber was filled with water, and his serpentine form coiled and uncoiled within it. He was long and thick with bioluminescent patterns along his body that pulsed slowly. His species had no eyes because eyes were useless in the deep trenches. He sensed through electromagnetism and pressure waves. He had never encountered prey that escaped him. On the opposite side of the arena, in a much smaller preparation area, Dr. Sarah Kim sat next to a reinforced transport cage. Inside the cage, something moved with restless energy. A Galactic News Network reporter had somehow gotten access to the human preparation area. She was a floating jellyfish-like being who drifted closer to the cage, her camera bots hovering around her. "Dr. Kim," the reporter said, her voice translated through a speaker. "The galaxy is watching. Can you tell us about Colonel Spite? Why this particular animal?" Dr. Kim looked up from checking her medical kit. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Honey badgers are from the family Mustelidae. They're related to weasels, otters, and wolverines. They evolved in Africa and parts of Asia. They weigh between 9 and 16 kilograms. They're about 75 centimeters long." "That's very small for a predator," the reporter said. "Size doesn't matter much when you literally don't care if you die," Dr. Kim said flatly. She tapped the cage and something inside made a sound that the reporter's translator couldn't process. It came out as just angry noise. "Can we see him?" the reporter asked. "Sure, but keep your distance." Dr. Kim activated the transparent panels on one side of the cage. The camera bots focused on the interior. Colonel Spite was smaller than everyone had imagined. He had black fur on his back and head, with a white stripe running along his sides and top. His face was pointed, almost cute, with small eyes that looked at the camera with something that definitely wasn't curiosity. He looked annoyed. He looked like he was already tired of this whole situation. "He's so small," the reporter said. "He's big enough," Dr. Kim replied. "You want to know the thing about honey badgers? They don't have an off switch. Most animals, including most predators, have a point where survival instinct kicks in, where pain or injury makes them retreat. Honey badgers don't have that. They fight until they win, or until they physically can't move anymore. And sometimes they keep fighting even then." She pulled up a video file on her tablet and showed it to the camera. "This is footage from a wildlife preserve on Earth. A honey badger got into a fight with 2 jackals over food. The jackals bit him. He ignored it. They bit him harder. He turned around and chased them both off. Then a lion showed up. The honey badger attacked the lion. The lion ran away. Then the honey badger went back to eating like nothing had happened." "But Zarthox weighs 400 kilograms, the reporter protested. "Colonel Spite doesn't care about weight classes," Dr. Kim said. She looked at the cage with something that might have been fondness or might have been exasperation. "He once attacked a vehicle because it was parked where he wanted to walk. Just started biting the tires. Didn't stop until we moved the vehicle. You can't reason with that level of spite." The reporter's camera bots moved closer to the cage. Colonel Spite's head turned to track them. His eyes narrowed. "I'd move those back," Dr. Kim warned. "Why?" "He's behind reinforced." Colonel Spite launched himself at the bars with shocking speed. The impact shook the cage. His claws scraped against the metal, and he made a sound that was somewhere between a growl and a scream. The camera bots scattered. "That's why," Dr. Kim said. "He doesn't like being filmed, or observed, or existing near other beings. He's actually pretty calm right now." "That's calm? You should see him when he's actually angry." The reporter drifted away from the cage. "Dr. Kim, do you think he can win?" Dr. Kim was quiet for a moment. "I think if you put Colonel Spite in a room with death itself, he'd bite death in the throat and then take a nap on death's corpse. These council warriors are good. They're probably the best fighters their species have produced. But they're used to opponents who fight logically, who feel pain normally, who have self-preservation instincts." She looked at Colonel Spite, who was now trying to bite through the bars of his own cage, apparently just to see if he could. "Colonel Spite doesn't fight logically. He fights like someone who woke up angry and decided to make it everyone else's problem, and he's been angry for his entire life." The interview was broadcast across the galaxy. The betting odds shifted again. Not much, but enough that several large financial institutions started to get nervous. In the council viewing box, Warlord Krax watched the footage of Colonel Spite attacking his own cage for no reason. "That animal is defective," he said. "Its self-preservation instinct is broken." Ambassador Chen, who had been invited to watch from the council box, smiled. "That's not a defect, Warlord. That's the feature." The arena announcer's voice boomed across the space. "The combat trial will begin in 5 minutes. Fighters, prepare for transport to the arena floor." Dr. Kim put on heavy protective gloves and opened the transport cage. Colonel Spite immediately tried to bite her. She was expecting it and pulled her hand back just in time. "I know, buddy," she said softly. "I know you hate everyone and everything, but right now we need you to hate them more than you hate me." She attached a lead to his collar, a specially designed collar that had been reinforced 3 times because he kept breaking them. Colonel Spite pulled against it immediately, trying to go in every direction at once. "The collar will release when you enter the arena," Dr. Kim told him, knowing he didn't understand and wouldn't care if he did. "Then you can bite whatever you want." Colonel Spite made his angry sound again. Somewhere in the council viewing box, someone observed that it sounded like a threat. Chen corrected them. "That's not a threat," he said. "That's a promise." The arena floor opened in 3 places and 3 platforms rose up. On the first stood Zarthox the Unbroken, magnificent and terrible. On the second stood the Perfect Killer, motionless and patient. On the third, Deep Terror coiled, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing like a warning. Then a 4th platform rose. On it stood Dr. Kim and Colonel Spite. The size difference was absurd. The other 3 fighters looked like mythical beasts. Colonel Spite looked like someone's pet who had wandered onto the wrong stage. Dr. Kim unclipped the lead and stepped back onto the descending platform. Colonel Spite stood alone in the center of the arena. The announcer's voice echoed, "Let the first round begin." Colonel Spite looked around the arena. He saw 3 creatures, each one massive compared to him. Each one a perfect killing machine. He did not run. He did not crouch in fear. He did not make any of the defensive postures that prey animals make when confronted by predators. Instead, Colonel Spite made his angry sound one more time, lowered his head and charged directly at Zarthox the Unbroken. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the 13-kilogram ball of fury launched itself at the 400-kilogram warrior like a missile that ran on spite and bad intentions. In the council viewing box, Warlord Krax leaned forward. "By the ancestors," he whispered. "That little creature is insane." "Nope," Chen said cheerfully. "That's just a honey badger. They're all like this." The first round had begun. Zarthox the Unbroken stood ready, his centuries of combat experience telling him to wait for the small creature to make the first move. He did not have to wait long. Colonel Spite hit him like a furry cannonball, claws extended, teeth already snapping for the throat. Zarthox actually staggered backward from the impact, which was impossible. The creature weighed nothing. The force should have been negligible, but Colonel Spite didn't fight with force alone. He fought with leverage, momentum, and absolute commitment to violence. His claws found purchase in the gaps between Zarthox's scales, and he pulled himself upward with shocking speed. Zarthox tried to grab the small creature, but Colonel Spite was already moving. He bit down on Zarthox's arm, his jaws locking with a pressure that made the Scar-Rex warrior bellow in pain. The honey badger's teeth found the softer tissue between scales and held on. "Get off," Zarthox roared, shaking his arm violently. Colonel Spite didn't let go. Zarthox slammed his arm against the ground, trying to crush the creature. The impact would have killed most beings. Colonel Spite just bit down harder. Zarthox activated his venom glands. Acidic poison flooded from his fangs and splashed across Colonel Spite's face and body. The fur started to smoke. The skin underneath began to burn. Colonel Spite did not let go. He did not even slow down. In the viewing box, a xenobiology expert whispered frantically into his communicator. "That's impossible. That venom should be dissolving his nervous system. He should be paralyzed. He should be dead." On the arena floor, Colonel Spite finally released his grip, but only to get a better angle. He scrambled up Zarthox's arm across his shoulder and went straight for the throat. His teeth found the softer scales near Zarthox's jugular and bit down with every kilogram of force his small jaws could generate. Zarthox panicked. In 300 victories, he had never felt fear. But there was something fundamentally wrong about this small creature that wouldn't stop, wouldn't slow down, wouldn't acknowledge that it was outmatched. The venom should have stopped it. The impacts should have stunned it. Nothing worked. The Scar-Rex warrior did something he had never done in his entire combat career. He tapped the ground 3 times with his free hand. The universal signal for submission. The arena announcer sounded shocked. "Zarthox the Unbroken has yielded. Round 1 goes to Earth. Time, 43 seconds. The arena fell silent. 12 billion beings watching across the galaxy stopped moving. In the council viewing box, Warlord Krax stood up slowly, his face unreadable. Medical teams rushed onto the arena floor. They had to use shock prods to get Colonel Spite to release Zarthox's throat. Even then, the honey badger turned and tried to attack the medical teams until Dr. Kim's voice came through the speakers. "Colonel Spite, treat." The honey badger stopped. He looked around, spotted Dr. Kim on the observation platform, and made his angry sound. But he stopped attacking. Dr. Kim threw something into the arena, a piece of meat that Colonel Spite caught and ate in 2 bites. The medical teams examined Zarthox. His arm had multiple deep puncture wounds. His throat had come within millimeters of being torn open, and his venom, his species' most powerful weapon, had done nothing but make the honey badger's fur smell bad. Colonel Spite sat in the center of the arena, licking venom off his paws like it was water. Half his face was burned, and he had at least 3 broken bones from where Zarthox had slammed him into the ground. He looked annoyed that the fight had stopped. The announcer's voice returned. Round 2 will begin in 5 minutes. The perfect killer will now enter the arena. The Chithar representative in the council box was very still. Through the hive mind, she was reviewing every second of the first round, analyzing it, sharing the data with billions of other Chithar minds. The conclusion they reached was disturbing. The creature doesn't process pain correctly, she said. It should be incapacitated from its injuries. Instead, it's angry that we interrupted it. Ambassador Chen nodded. Now you're starting to understand. The 5 minutes passed. Colonel Spite remained in the arena, refusing to be removed despite Dr. Kim's attempts to recall him. He just sat there watching the entrance where the perfect killer would emerge, waiting. When the perfect killer entered, she moved like liquid shadow. Her exoskeleton was beautiful and terrible, her blade limbs catching the light. She was everything her name suggested. 10,000 generations of genetic perfection designed for one purpose only. She analyzed Colonel Spite from across the arena. Her hive mind fed her data: weight, dimensions, injury assessment, threat level. The threat level calculation came back as minimal. This should be an easy victory. The perfect killer moved first using proper predator tactics. She circled, looking for the best angle of attack. Colonel Spite turned to track her movements, but he didn't move otherwise. He just watched and waited. Then the perfect killer struck, moving faster than human eyes could follow. Her blade limbs flashed toward Colonel Spite's head, aimed to decapitate in a single strike. Colonel Spite ducked. The blade passed through the space where his head had been a fraction of a second before, and then he counterattacked. He went low under her guard, and his teeth found the joint between her leg segments. The exoskeleton was harder than bone, but honey badger jaws were designed to crack turtle shells. He bit down, and something in the perfect killer's leg crunched. She struck at him with another blade limb, catching him across the shoulder. The blade cut deep, and the honey badger lost an ear from the strike. Blood splattered across the arena floor. Colonel Spite responded by climbing up her leg, using his claws to find purchase in the joints of her exoskeleton. The perfect killer tried to shake him off, but he was already at her thorax, biting systematically at each joint he could reach. The hive mind fed her combat data from 10 billion Chithar. None of it helped. Every strategy assumed the opponent would respond to pain, to injury, to damage. Colonel Spite didn't respond to any of that. He just kept attacking. The perfect killer tried to stab herself to hit the honey badger. She managed to pierce her own exoskeleton twice, and both times the blade went through Colonel Spite as well. The first stab went through his side. The second went through his shoulder. Colonel Spite reached up and bit the blade limb that was currently stabbing through his own body. He bit until the blade cracked, then kept biting until the whole limb broke off. The perfect killer's hive-mind connection flooded with something the Chithar had never experienced in their entire evolutionary history. The perfect killer was feeling terror. Not tactical concern, not danger assessment, but pure primal fear. She was watching herself get systematically dismantled by a creature that should have died twice already. She was feeling pain. Chithar felt pain just fine, and the creature causing that pain was currently eating through her carapace with a blade, stuck through its own shoulder. The perfect killer tapped her, surrender, against the arena floor. The hive mind agreed with the decision. Some fights couldn't be won. The announcer's voice was quieter this time. The perfect killer has yielded. Round 2 goes to Earth. Time: 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Medical teams swarmed the arena again. Dr. Kim had to use 3 tranquilizer darts to get Colonel Spite to stop attacking the perfect killer's unconscious body. The honey badger finally sat down, looked at the blade sticking through his shoulder, and tried to bite it out himself. "Don't do that." Dr. Kim's voice came through the speakers. "Medical will remove it." Colonel Spite made his angry sound but stopped biting the blade. The medical teams approached cautiously, and Dr. Kim had to throw treats to distract him while they worked. The chief medical officer, a spider-like being with 12 eyes, examined Colonel Spite's wounds. This creature has 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, multiple lacerations, severe burns from venom, and until 30 seconds ago had a blade through its shoulder. It should be dead. Why is it trying to bite my assistant? Because that's what honey badgers do, Dr. Kim said tiredly. How long until round 3? We need at least 20 minutes to treat these injuries, the medical officer said. He won't let you treat him, Dr. Kim warned. Best you can do is remove the blade and step back. His immune system is ridiculous. He'll probably be fine. In the council viewing box, nobody was laughing anymore. The Drenathi representative floated in her water chamber, watching the replay footage. Deep Terror is stronger than both previous fighters, she said, but her voice lacked confidence. He will win. Warlord Krax was watching Ambassador Chen's face. The human was smiling, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had warned you, had given you every chance to avoid this, and was now watching you learn the hard way. How is that creature still fighting? Krax asked quietly. Because nothing on Earth prepared us for the honey badger, Chen replied. We have predators that are bigger, stronger, faster. But the honey badger is the one that makes all the other predators nervous. It's not about size or strength, Warlord. It's about the fact that honey badgers wake up every morning and choose violence, and they never get tired of that choice. The 20-minute timer began. Colonel Spite sat in the center of the arena, one ear missing, fur matted with blood and venom, ribs broken, lung punctured, and he looked at the entrance where Deep Terror would appear. He looked impatient. He looked like he was annoyed by the wait. Deep Terror entered the arena through a water-filled tunnel that drained as the platform rose. He was massive, 300 kilograms of muscle and hunting instinct that had been perfected over 3 million years in the darkest trenches of his home world. His serpentine body coiled and uncoiled, and the bioluminescent patterns along his sides pulsed in complex rhythms. He had no eyes because he had never needed them. He sensed the world through electromagnetic fields and pressure waves. He could detect the electrical impulses of a heartbeat from across the arena. He could feel the vibrations of breathing, of movement, of fear. Colonel Spite's heartbeat was elevated. His breathing was rough from the punctured lung, but there was no fear. Deep Terror's sensors picked up something else instead: aggression, pain signals being generated and ignored, and the electromagnetic signature of a nervous system that was damaged, but still firing on all cylinders. The Drenathi representative watched from her water chamber in the council box, her confidence returning. Deep Terror has never lost because he fights differently. He doesn't rely on vision or hearing. He can sense the attack before it comes. He has already won. Ambassador Chen said nothing. He just watched. The round began. Colonel Spite stood his ground, swaying slightly from blood loss and injury. Deep Terror moved forward, his body rippling across the arena floor with practiced ease. His species had been apex predators since before humans had discovered fire. Deep Terror struck fast, his powerful body whipping around to coil around the small creature. In the ocean trenches, this was how he killed, crushing the life out of prey before they even understood what was happening. But Colonel Spite wasn't in an ocean trench, and he understood exactly what was happening. As Deep Terror's coils wrapped around him, Colonel Spite twisted and bit. His teeth sank into the serpentine body, and he didn't let go even as the pressure increased. Deep Terror squeezed harder, using enough force to crush steel. The honey badger's ribs, already broken, cracked further. Colonel Spite bit harder. Deep Terror's electromagnetic senses told him the creature should be unconscious by now. The pressure was enough. The damage was sufficient. But the electrical signals from the honey badger's nervous system showed something impossible. Pain signals being generated at extreme levels, but motor control remaining active. The creature was feeling everything and just didn't care. Colonel Spite released his first bite only to take another one, deeper this time. Then another. He was systematically biting his way through Deep Terror's body while being crushed to death. It was a race to see which would happen first. Would Deep Terror crush the life out of the honey badger, or would the honey badger bite through something vital? The galaxy watched in horrified fascination as the small creature, broken and bleeding, refused to stop fighting. One of his legs had gone limp from the pressure. Blood was coming from his mouth, and he just kept biting. Deep Terror's sensors detected damage to his own body now. Serious damage, The small creature's teeth had found a major nerve cluster. Then they found a circulatory channel. The bioluminescent patterns along Deep Terror's body started flickering irregularly. The Drenathi representative stood up in her water chamber. No, this is not possible, but it was happening. Deep Terror's coils loosened slightly as pain and injury affected his control. That tiny loosening was all Colonel Spite needed. He twisted, got a front leg free, and used it to drag himself toward Deep Terror's head. Deep Terror tried to tighten his coils again, but the damage was spreading. The honey badger had bitten through too many important connections. The serpentine body that had crushed prey for millions of years was losing strength. Colonel Spite reached Deep Terror's head. He grabbed on with his claws and bit down on the sensory organs that Deep Terror used to navigate his lightless world. The Drenathi champion made a sound that translators couldn't process, something between a roar and a scream. Deep Terror thrashed violently, his body whipping across the arena floor. Colonel Spite held on. The thrashing became weaker. The bioluminescent patterns were barely flickering now. Deep Terror's body went limp. He wasn't dead. His species was too tough for that, but he was done fighting. The medical sensors confirmed he had lost consciousness from pain and injury. The announcer's voice was almost a whisper. Deep Terror is unable to continue. Round 3 goes to Earth. Winner, Colonel Spite. The arena was silent. 12 billion beings across the galaxy were silent. Even the eternal hum of the station's life support system seemed quieter. Medical teams rushed in again. This time they had learned their lesson and brought heavy equipment. They managed to pull Colonel Spite away from Deep Terror's unconscious form, but it took 4 beings to hold the honey badger down while Dr. Kim approached. It's over, she said softly, kneeling next to him. You won. You can stop now. Colonel Spite made his angry sound, but weaker this time. His eyes were starting to glaze over. The adrenaline and sheer spite that had kept him fighting were finally wearing off. Dr. Kim quickly examined him while the medical teams worked. 1 ear missing, 3 broken ribs, punctured lung, multiple lacerations, severe internal bruising, possible spinal damage, venom burns, and blood loss at critical levels, she reported. And according to our scans during the fight, he sustained most of these injuries during transport here. He fought all 3 rounds already injured. That announcement rippled through the observation decks. Colonel Spite had been injured before the first round even began. He had been fighting with broken ribs from the start. In the council viewing box, Warlord Crack sat down heavily. He looked at Ambassador Chen with an expression that humans would have called respect mixed with deep concern. That creature is insane, Crack said. No, Chen corrected. He's a honey badger, and there are thousands of them on Earth. Millions of animals like him. You wanted to see our predators, Warlord. You saw our lions and tigers and thought they were weak, but you didn't understand what you were looking at. Earth isn't dangerous because of how big our predators are. Earth is dangerous because our animals evolved in an arms race that never ended. They evolved to be too tough to kill and too angry to die. The Chithar representative clicked softly. Through the hive mind, billions of Chithar were processing what they had witnessed. We bred the perfect killer for 10,000 generations. We thought that was impressive. But Earth has been breeding animals in the wild for millions of generations, and the selection pressure was simple. Survive or die. No controlled environment. No genetic engineering. Just raw evolution. And the honey badger evolved to survive anything, Dr. Kim added. She was cradling Colonel Spite now, who had finally stopped trying to bite everyone. He was too weak to fight anymore. But his eyes were still alert, still watching for threats. He'll survive this too. His immune system will handle the venom. His bones will heal. In a few weeks, he'll be back to attacking things for no reason. The Council's decision was unanimous. Earth received full military support. Humanity was granted a seat on the Apex Predator Committee, and every species in the Council made a mental note to never ever underestimate Earth again. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light. Within hours, the Vrek swarm had received multiple diplomatic packages from various sources. Each package contained the same thing: footage of Colonel Spite's 3 rounds and a message from Earth. The message was simple. We have 8.2 billion more where this came from, and some of them are reasonable. We suggest you cease hostilities and request peace negotiations immediately. The Vrek swarm, a species that had conquered 40 star systems through sheer aggressive persistence, watched the footage. They watched a 13-kilogram creature defeat 3 of the galaxy's finest warriors, Through nothing but anger and refusal to give up, they did the math on what 8 billion humans could accomplish if they all had even a fraction of that spite. The Vrex immediately ceased all military operations against human colonies. They sent peace envoys within 6 hours. They offered reparations within 12. Nobody could prove it, but intelligence reports suggested that the Vrex Queen had nightmares about honey badgers for months afterward. 6 months later, Ambassador Chen stood in the council chamber again, this time as an official member of the Apex Predator Committee. He was presenting Earth's proposal for the Domesticated Animals Exchange Program, a cultural initiative to help other species understand Earth's fauna. Warlord Krax looked at the list of proposed exchange animals. His face went through several interesting color changes. Geese? He asked. You want to send geese to other worlds? Cultural ambassadors, Chen said cheerfully. Very popular on Earth. These descriptions say they attack without provocation, feel no fear, and have been known to chase off much larger predators. That's accurate, Chen confirmed. Krax kept reading. Cassowaries. Description: 3-meter-tall birds with knife-like claws that can disembowel large prey. Known to attack vehicles, and they're very territorial, Chen explained. Swans. Description: aggressive waterfowl known for breaking human bones with wing strikes. They're elegant, Chen offered. The Chithar representative clicked nervously. Are all of Earth's animals this violent? No, Chen said. These are the friendly ones. These are the ones we domesticated or live near humans peacefully. You don't want to meet the unfriendly ones.